fact of shedding. In other words, people who are recently vaccinated can shed organisms. And this has been proved over a range of diseases, most recently regarding the whooping cough vaccine. So people who are vaccinated can also put this very, very tiny group, but very important group of children who are in serious health, with serious health problems, they're putting them at risk as well. So it's completely illogical. And as I said, it's not real legislation based on real science. All it's doing is discriminatory. It's based on hysteria that's been whipped up by the pharmaceutical industry and its proponents. And we certainly in the Health Australia Party are unambiguously against no jab, no pay, no jab, no play. And that does not make us anti-vaccination. If people want to vaccinate, that's their right to make that choice.
Yeah. And in terms of the culture and the situation in Australia, in terms of our attitudes towards natural medicine, what's the best case scenario that you see in terms of outcomes?
Look, the other unusual fact here, and I say it's unusual because it runs completely opposite to what we've talked about so far, is that literally millions and millions of Australians use natural therapies. And they know they use them because they know they work. They use them to prevent or manage chronic illnesses which the orthodox people can't help them with. So we have out there in the community, in the voting community, millions and millions of Australians who, if all of this was suddenly taken away from them, they'd be up in arms. They'd say, why is this? Why can't we get the form of treatment that we want anymore? So I guess the aim of the Health Australia Party and anyone who's interested in trying to raise awareness is to let people know that if you find a benefit from the form of medicine that you've chosen to use, at your own expense usually, then that right to choose is at risk from these very deliberate and systematic attacks on the integrity of natural therapies. If we could mobilise even a fraction of those, I don't know how many million, let's say, 8 million Australians of all ages who use natural therapies, if we can mobilise even a percentage of them, we can get people elected to state and federal parliaments. And I am completely certain that if we can get a few politicians elected, people who can eyeball their new colleagues in the Senate or the House of Representatives or in the state houses and let them know some facts about this, give them information which they're being shielded from at the moment, then things will change. Now, that sounds in theory, okay, you've got a real chance it might work. It's much, much more difficult than that in practice, of course, as we found in the 2016 election. I think we ended up around the country in those 4 states getting about 80,000 votes, either first or subsequent preference votes. We would have got probably 280,000 if it hadn't been for the campaigns accusing us of being anti-vaccination. So undoubtedly those campaigns will be hauled out again at the next election whenever we stand. But what we need to do is try and let people know who use natural medicine that if you want to preserve the right to continue to use it in the future, you need to do something at the polling booth. And look, if you're Labor, Liberal, Greens, whatever, ever party at all, give them in the Senate your second preference, but give the Health Australia Party your first preference, and it will make a difference.
Great. Well, thank you for putting so much time and effort into, trying to make these changes and stand up for us and our rights, Isaac. It's, I'm sure it takes a lot of energy on your part.
It certainly has, Emily. But it's
Yep.
My duty as well as my pleasure, to be honest.
Yeah. Is there anything left that you would like to say? Because I've gone through my list of questions.
Yep. Look, the bottom line is that what you're doing with your program, the more people who are doing things like what you're doing and making information available to people. Now, I know often in situations like this, one is talking to the converted already, but every now and again, there'll be someone who's listening whose mind will change. And that's all we can do. It's one mind at a time, in a way. One would love to have a magic wand and touch a million minds in the one hit, but it doesn't work like that. So we just have to keep getting the message out that if we don't take care and if we're not observant as to what's going on, we will lose rights in terms of our health choices over the years to come. And some people might say, look, it'll never happen, but it's happening. And we can see the evidence in that in the King Review. We can see the attempts that were made to change the NHMRC to the TGA, Therapeutic Goods Administration, to change and marginalise natural therapies. We can see it in the influence on the Health Complaints Commissioners, where the onus of proof of effectiveness is going to be very difficult because of the NHMRC reports. All of these things matter. All of these things are making a negative difference. And so people need to make a decision to do something proactive and positive to turn that around, to inform politicians, to let their neighbours know even about what's happening. And then if enough people do that, things will happen.
Yeah, for sure. I feel that we all have to contribute in some way, or maybe not have to, but obviously that's a choice. But if we would like to see a change, then that's the way to go. That's the best way to go.
Thank you once again, Emily. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you for coming and talking to us and sharing all your wisdom and amazing knowledge.
Okay, thank you.